And then this when Ray Fiennes gets C, so now we know what C stands for, and everyone's going,
say it.
He's going to say it. He's like, careless. Like, you're so posh. he's so posh in English.
Hello and welcome to the For Your Ears Only podcast. I'm Jack and this is Derek.
Hello.
Today we're going to talk about episode 0024, directed by Sam Mendes. Again, it is Spectre from 2015, his second film, the first director to do back-to-back films since the 80s.
The second of his 3 movies. You heard it here first.
No way. No. Right, so this film comes after the 50th anniversary special, I guess you could say, of Skyfall, the biggest grossing film, $1.1 billion worldwide. So the pressure is on. Sam.
Don't all movies do billions now?
Yeah, but this was 10 years ago.
That's true, actually.
And does it live up to the hype? That's what we're trying to say. It's the question of the night. I'm not sure, but we'll let Derek tell us.
Audience members, they know my opinion of this last week.
Yeah, this film is divided, and we'll get onto this why. It's got many reasons, but in hindsight, it's nearly 10 years old, 9 years.
Yeah.
So let's revisit it right now.
Is that poster a spoiler for the next movie? Dead.
It's as if Sam knew what was going on.
Telling.
It's foreshadowing. Foreshadowing's a word. Okay, but first of all, we're going to do our typical segment called our 2-minute synopsis, where Derek will surmise the film in 2 minutes for anyone who's not watched the film. Are you ready?
No.
I'm going to say this is pretty difficult because to date this is the longest James Bond film at 2 hours and 28 minutes. I can't remember if No Time to Die is longer, but something tells me it is.
I think it is.
So this could be hard. There's a lot to fit in. A lot to fit in. Are you ready?
I will do what I did with that other Jeep. Was it Quantum of Solace? I just went.
I was going to say, you've had the shortest Bond film and the longest Bond film to do.
Oh, good.
But I can't remember if you passed the shortest film.
Yeah, I passed it quite easily, actually. I think there was a good 15 seconds left.
Okay, that's good.
So I was meticulous going through it, but no, I'm
not going to add those 15 seconds on here.
I would like you to. I'm just trying to piece together the wee bits as to what goes on. Okay.
And the subplot, all that stuff. It's quite long. Okay, Derek, in 2 minutes, please describe the movie Spectre. 3, 2, 1, go.
Opening scene is Bond going through the Day of the Dead festival, where it turns out he's trying to kill a target. He gets up to the target, he kills him, and then the opening title sequences open up. He's then in the meeting with M. M is raging because the Mexico mission was off book and unsanctioned, and he is not fired but suspended technically for a point. It then opens up that the reason he was there is because M, in like an obituary-like video, says that Bond has to kill this man and then go to the funeral. He meets up with Q. Q puts a nanobot thing in his blood because that's the way of tracking him now. We also get introduced to Andrew Scott's character, who is now the head of this brand new security service which is taking over MI6 and all our security forces around the world, Shadowway operation. Bond then goes to Rome with the stolen Aston Martin, goes to the funeral, meets Monica Bellucci, goes to her house, she tries to get killed, or is almost killed. He intervenes and then goes to a meeting. At this meeting, he stumbles upon this secret organisation called Spectre, who he doesn't know as of yet, and sees an old familiar face. Gets away in a car chase, Batista's chasing him, he gets away, and that's that. He then gets in touch with Moneypenny to find this person called the White King. No, the Pale King. Pale Emperor, the Pale King.
You've got 30 seconds.
30 seconds left. The Pale King, that turns out to be Mr. White. He finds Mr. White. Mr. White says, go find my daughter, because he knows that American. Finds a daughter, gets her away after this car chase down the mountain, gets to American, finds out that it's tracing this frequency, goes to the frequency, which is in the middle of the desert, which turns out to be a head cue for Blofeld. Almost kills Blofeld, gets to London. London's obviously, am I run out of time? No, how much longer left?
10.
Okay, gets to London,
5.
He's almost killed by the blown up building. It then turns out that he gets out the building, M kills C, and then he shoots a helicopter down, and that's blah, 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 blah.
Okay, you nearly made it.
That end bit. Well, I did say he shoots a helicopter down, and that is the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Kinda.
If I give you that extra 15 seconds, you made it.
If I'd banked that extra 15 seconds, that would be it. I was trying to kind of piece together how they got from one place to the other, but it was all...
That doesn't...
Someone told him to go somewhere, and he did, and then that was pretty much
That's how all spy movies work.
Spy stuff happens.
Yeah. That was good. You didn't really miss out anything, to be fair.
I couldn't remember a single character's name. It just went, Batista,
Yeah.
Monica Bellucci.
Yeah, so it was the old M that gave him the video obituary.
Yes, what did I say? Just M.
You said M. It's like, is he dead suddenly?
Voldemort.
Yeah, and Blofeld is the head of Spectre, as all you classic Bond fans will know.
Yes.
But you did well. Good long film. What was your favourite scene in this film?
My favourite scene?
Yeah.
The opening sequence.
The opening sequence.
It was very much like The World Is Not Enough, where the opening sequence is just drawn out, cinematic, very artsy.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Sam Mendes, it's like, we're going to do this shot with thousands of people. It's going to be one take. It's like, come on, Sam, no, it's
You don't
one
need
take.
to do that.
And we're going up rooftops. We're going up lifts. We're going all over the place.
Inside, outside.
Why are you doing this to us? One take.
One take.
It was just visually great.
Oh.
I think, as the regular listeners know, I went into this movie thinking it was the worst of the bunch.
Okay.
And I bought the Blu-ray.
Oh.
And I watched it again. And I went in wanting to dislike it. But I came out the other side changed.
Changed man.
Reborn. I did start to get an appreciation for it, because I'd only watched this once before and immediately dismissed it.
Right, so
I
that
thought
was
it horrible.
in the cinema that first time.
Yes, and I thought it was and then watching it again, I was like, all right, I kind of following this now. I think now that I understand where the story goes and focused on where it's come from, there was a few things I didn't like. I know exactly why I didn't like the movie, but yeah, the opening sequence was really good. The car chase through Rome, I thought was really
excellent.
good. Strategically at night, when
Yes.
there's no traffic.
Nobody there.
That was just great. Again, big Sam Mendes thing. The movie just looks stunning.
It does, doesn't
Everything is really, really good.
Good cinematography.
The Rome chase, I'm trying to think the other bits were there. Didn't really care for the Alps scene. Really didn't care for the desert lab pish.
The Blofeld's lair.
Yeah, even the bit of London at the end. That was all like really nice.
Yep.
But yeah, he's always just the best dressed guy somewhere. The only guy in Italy that owns gloves.
Owns gloves, yeah. I think going back to the opening scene, it's the longest opening scene, I'm sure, until we get to No Time to Die, which is like 20 minutes long.
It's the only
And
one take scene.
It's probably the greatest, most grand opening yet, with like over 1,500 extras or something.
Yeah.
And
You could watch it over and over again. Even the bit from the start
yeah,
to him setting up across the window, ignoring everything that comes after, just that whole bit, you just can't, because it's like not really a one take. There's
a
you can
couple
see wee
of
bits where it's very good, but you can't take your eyes off. You're like, where's he going now?
yeah.
What's
Yeah,
he doing over there?
It is. It's excellent, and the fact that Mexico City never actually do a Day of the Dead festival until that film. That was the first time they'd ever put that on
all right.
in the city, and then every year since then they've kept it up because James Bond made it popular there. But 1,500 extras. I watched the behind the scenes, and it's 1,500 people every day getting their makeup done. They had the dancers who had to make up routines for dancing. They had the musicians, the mariachi bands who had to have actual songs written. All this background stuff that they're in the screen for milliseconds, but they all have such perfect,
They sell it.
full backgrounds, which is so difficult.
Yeah.
That's where all the money goes.
It kind of looks like George Square.
It could have been George
white
Square a
shot.
lot.
I was like, that's just George Square with like a filter.
Yeah, we can come back to how the sepia filter is like a meme now for any hot country. You just
Yeah.
put sepia on it.
that joke of how you sell any sort of hot country and it's sepia filter, and then there's just a camel that appears, and then a distant traveller going, "Welcome, my friend," and a distant voice going, "Ah, yeah."
Yeah, for any Arab scene. Yeah.
That just sounds.
What a great video on the internet.
It's so Disney.
But yeah, it's this scene with the helicopter chase. A guy from Red Bull is the helicopter pilot. That's what he does.
He's stunt pilot.
His stunt pilot he does work for Red Bull. That kind of stuff and all the training that went with it. The actual actor who plays the bad guy, Scara or something.
Monica Bellucci's husband.
He was actually involved in that whole thing. He was doing all the stunts himself, and it's like him fighting with Daniel Craig's stuntman. Daniel Craig's nowhere to be seen, but the actual actor does take part in it.
Suppose he doesn't really do any acting, does he?
No, just a lot of running.
He does that at the window and then is coming out bleeding and running.
If I had to say one thing, is James Bond's obviously an agent with experience now, and his scope gets caught with his scope laser thing is how they see him.
I wrote it down and then I removed it. Why is he using the laser in the daytime?
And it's also blue. I've never seen that before.
I think you can make them any colour, but why he needs a laser at all at that distance
Yeah,
through a window is just plot.
For
He needs to be
the
spotted
plot.
some way. It
Yeah,
doesn't have like a glint, and it happens to be the smoke that gives away the laser.
and
I just
Daniel
thought,
Craig's
it's
so
just-
good in this. It's very, very Tom Ford at its best in this film.
Is it Tom Ford who does all the
Yeah, Tom Ford in the suits and the funeral scene. That's a
funerals?
classic.
I was like, guys, how are you shot
Classic.
this in a funeral looking like that?
Just like $1 million to the guy you've
with my
literally you've just killed the guy.
With my stolen Aston.
Yeah.
And even at not the spa, the retreat in the Alps, and he shows up with his
Oh,
bag,
yeah.
and I was like, that bag's probably $5,000.
Yeah. What's in the bag?
It's just not an overnight bag.
Why have you got the bag? Yeah, good scene. I'm gonna say top 10. I don't know. It's hard for that opening scene because it's not for me as good as the water chase down the Thames.
If it wasn't one take, it would be throwaway. The
Yeah.
fact that it's one take is what keeps it, and it's everything flows with a transition of you see the villain, you see Bond or someone who kind of looks like Bond, and they're walking together, and you don't know where they're going,
Or who
and
they
you're
are.
following their journey. And then
Yeah.
he goes from in disguise to in the typical suit,
Yeah.
and he's just then very nonchalantly walking over the roof, and that wee jump. Some health and safety advisor was like, "Listen,
Please don't do that.
please don't fall down there."
Yeah, I think it's hard because it was so promoted heavily in teasers and trailers and posters. That scene that when it actually happened, I was like, right, okay, that's impressive, but not for the reasons I want it to be impressive.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. But okay, question 1. We'll go straight into the question 1 being a hard question because it relates to this scene. Okay. I want to know, what is the time on the clock on the building that James Bond shoots and blows up when he's attacking Scara? That's
Is it Sciara?
Sciara. It's only there for a split second, but what's the time?
Is that a pun? There's something that we've not done for a while, and I want to know what your thoughts are for this.
Okay.
So we don't really talk about the history because they're modern movies,
Yeah.
but we can talk about influences.
Okay.
Something very specific about this movie in terms of the influence. I think the old and the new theme
Right.
comes in again.
Yeah,
Quite a
it's
lot,
back
you know.
from
This is
Skyfall.
this is old fashioned. This is the new world. Yada, yada, yada. But obviously, there was the lawsuit. And now they can use Spectre.
Yes.
They never even mentioned the name prior to this movie. And even though all these villains were all part of this organisation in some way, somehow, going right back to 2006, they also weren't.
True.
They had nothing to do with it.
It was all retconned.
You couldn't say the name. So, what changed?
What changed is they got the rights. Basically, Kevin McClory's died. So the rights
died.
The rights went to his family, and his family were willing to sell them back to Eon.
I think they're in the writing room just going, what if we killed Kevin McClory?
We just took the rights ourselves. Yeah, that's basically it. So I'm sure they'd had the rights for a while, but not to the specific names of Spectre and Blofeld.
Mentioned about the whole Sony thing.
Yes, when
they
Sony
couldn't use Blofeld, they couldn't use Spectre specifically.
No, they couldn't. It's like
such a weird. They weren't even mentioned before. You brought in like Mr. White, who says you don't even know this organisation exists. So it's like, well, are we talking about Quantum? Are we talking about Spectre? We're clearly talking about Quantum because you're not legally allowed to mention Spectre.
Yeah, so everybody gets retconned into this Spectre, and we're supposed to believe that Quantum's like an arm of Spectre, like a subsidiary company.
A tentacle?
A tentacle.
I don't know if that's the noise octopuses make. And for anyone who's just listening, I was making a movement like an octopus. I was just going.
I don't think octopuses really make noises.
How do you know? What noise do sharks make?
They roar like dinosaurs. But yeah, so they're supposed to be like retconned into this, although they never actually once. Oh, maybe they do actually. They say the word quantum once in this film. Like, he says something like Le Chiffre, Mr. White, Quantum, Silva are all part of this one company, whatever company, limited company. But yeah, that's kind of it's good, but also not good. I don't know. It kind of makes Quantum Solace a little bit worse.
Yeah.
Because
you're just a subsidiary of this.
The film, it's like, oh right, so that wasn't as the big bad that it's meant to be. It's just some little.
It's just a company that wanted the water.
Yeah.
Give me the water. By the way, there's something I need to clarify. Is a few episodes ago, no, actually, it was Skyfall. I said that was the first episode for a while that any animals were used to attack someone. No, I completely forgot. License to Kill. Quite a prominent character was eaten by a shark.
Oh, that is true.
So I'm sorry for anyone who was
still quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was the influence. I thought this movie had a bit of an influence going through it of not. Actually, no. I was going to say not shoehorning. 100%.
Oh, they 100% shoehorned all the past characters. The only one that I can't really, I can kind of forgive. All right, okay, Le Chiffre, Quantum, that's all the same thing. Mr. White, yeah, but Silva, I don't really get how he may be like an agent of Spectre, because he was just a rogue agent out for revenge on a specifically M. And he was just a guy.
Just a weird looking guy that wanted to kill an old woman.
Yeah, and we all know people like that. So, but yeah, I couldn't really get behind that. But I kind of just take it. All right, okay. They're not Spectre agents.
I think as well, like when it was trying to, maybe something I actually really didn't like is even in the opening credits, it was showing previous characters in the movies.
That's right, like M's face, and
you've got the gallery in MI6, and you've got these like movie printouts.
Yeah.
One of Vesper is like, that's for the poster, that's not for the movie. You've got those weird pictures, and I was like,
they're kind of like, yeah, doubling down. Like, remember, they're all the same.
Yeah, this is all these movies are connected. I'm like, is that what we want? Do we need them to be in like sequential order?
Yeah.
To enjoy them. Can I not watch like The Man with the Golden Gun and then go back to From Russia with Love and just assume it's just a separate story?
Yeah,
not to take it too seriously.
I know what you mean, but I don't know. I I don't know why Green's face was... I do know why Green's face wasn't on the wall, because he's just unpopular, forgettable villain, but also he's the only villain that's not shown in that end scene in MI6. Which the actor must be very sad at. I would be writing angry letters.
Maybe it wasn't, it was just cut. They just went, take that out. Maybe it's
I think you're going back to the themes of this film, right? So the good, like the old man Bond versus the new world order is a good one. I like the fact that even Sam Mendes said himself that this was all about getting the gang back together. That he started the last film. He got Moneypenny and the team, and he wanted to take it further. He wanted to show that he knew what to do next with these characters, and he then creates like the classic Bond, the old office, the big office, the team, all the classic like locations and the car, everything. He kind of goes back to the old ways but modernizes it, whereas Casino Royale was all about forget the past, no catchphrases, no weapons.
This is the start.
This is him like suddenly now becoming the Bond that we all knew, which is great, and I love that. But also when you go back to the history, what is history happened around this? Nothing, except I could probably blame Seth Rogen and that other guy who is kind of half cancelled for their film.
James Franco.
Yes.
So Seth Rogen and James Franco, explain.
Because they made a film. Seth Rogen and James Franco made a film called The Interview
Kim Jong-un
in 2014.
and Eminem.
Yeah. And the North Korean government obviously didn't like it, so what they did is hack the Sony system. Do you remember the big Sony hacks?
Yes.
And they leaked all these film scripts and stuff, and they leaked the Spectre film script like a year before, 2014. And in that had loads of different things that came out into the press. Do you remember any of these rumours?
Don't remember any of them at all.
The biggest one was the new M was actually a Spectre agent and a traitor and like taking over from the inside, and that was going to be...
I'm glad that didn't happen, because that's like Mission Impossible.
Yes, that's like, is it MI1 that does that?
I think so. Yeah, it's the leader of the team is actually the...
Yeah, so
traitor.
that was like the first draft, and I remember going into the cinema talking to my brother saying, I hope that actually doesn't come true here, and it's something else.
It takes out a wand.
So because of James Franco, they had to change things like Irma Bunt in the original series is Blofeld's wife. Remember, she has the gun and shoots Tracy out the window. She was supposed to be in this.
Is that Blofeld's wife?
Well, in the book, she becomes his wife, yeah.
Right. I thought she was just a person that worked for him.
She becomes a wife. There's loads of things, but I do specifically remember the M being a traitor thing.
Right.
And that never happened, and I guess we should thank James Franco for that.
I think we need to thank James Franco for anything.
But yeah, so I just knew that they had to frantically rewrite
Frantically
rewrite scripts 2 or 3 times
to put things forward. I think one of the things which I liked and disliked about this is, I think tropes is maybe too weak a word for it. I don't know if the movie's trying to be like every James Bond put together. Now we spoke about the Pierce movies and what we like about the Pierce movies, and it took everything that worked in decades of filmmaking, and it brought us the things that worked really well in a really simple, easy to understand fashion.
Yeah, brought it all together.
I think this movie tried to do maybe too much.
Right.
And it was almost, the fact that it's called Spectre, it's almost like this should be the finale.
Yeah.
This is the ultimate Bond movie that has everything that you want from a Bond movie. You should walk at the cinema and you'd be like, you know what? Fuck every other movie. This is the best.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to think, I've not had enough time to look and see. I think there's elements from every movie in this movie.
Yes.
We kind of like those the white tux for the first time in a while that we see coming through. You've got the Aston Martin car chase, which is just a car chase, but it's specifically like one of the old kind of car chases things. You've got gadgets coming back into this for technically the first time. You've got an exploding watch for the first time. You've got the torture scene, which is one of my real dislikes of this, which I'm like, is that trying to be Goldfinger in a way? Not so much Casino Royale, but kind of try to be Goldfinger. You've got the chase scenes at the end, which is kind of like the Funhouse in Scaramanga's Island.
Oh, right, I didn't think of that.
But I've not thought so much. Like, I think Blofeld looks, like, dressed-wise and walking around the island like Dr. No. That's the vibes I'm getting from that Dr. No.
Sure.
You've got the ejector seat.
Yep.
And I'm like, I think you could maybe a shoehorn it, but I think you could maybe take bits and bring them back. Okay, that's from that movie, and that's from that movie.
I think you definitely could.
But maybe that's where I'm like, I don't really like this. I don't like where this has been going. But
that's I think that's what Sam was trying to do, is reintroduce all these tropes and classic Bond isms that we all know and love.
Bondism, that's probably the best thing for it.
That wasn't present in the last 3 films. And he's like, right, now's the time, the team's together, he's an older agent now, we can bring in all these things and modernise them. I think that's what he was trying to do, and I totally understand, because there's lots of callbacks. The ejector seat, Goldfinger, the skiing, the fight down the mountains like Living Daylights, they crash through a big building like Living Daylights. The villain has a massive lair in a crater, and not quite a volcano, in a crater.
The large henchman,
big
unbelievably
henchman.
strong as Jaws / Odd Job.
All that stuff that's coming back, and I think that's definitely intentional, because I think probably the producers thought, now's the time, we can just go back to the way it was.
We can become children. We can go back to
go back to what it was, because I remember, you're right, the promo for this, it was hyped massively because Skyfall was so big and such a success. I remember everybody that I knew was like, I cannot wait for this film. And the trailers, the teasers, I watched the video announcement of the title and the cast, and the Aston DB10, all that massive hype, and we were like, this is going to be the best film ever.
Better than I remember.
Yeah.
Because I remember, it's a nice car, it's kind of futuristic car, okay. And then when I watched it again, I was like, oh, look at that more.
Yeah, that's such a good car.
And it's got, like, primitive gadgets, but, like, cool.
Exactly. I just remember the hype.
Where's this? I'm not going to say the number of the agent unless that's one of your questions, but where's this guy going? What does he need this car for? Also, the drive from London to Rome.
It's quite a long drive.
That's pre-Brexit.
That is pre-Brexit. Barely.
I think,
but I think there's supposed to be, it's supposed to be that kind of callback, and I think he does it right. But maybe I don't know. It's hard because it's everything you want, and then it's like don't get whatever you wish for. You'll never be happy with it. That kind of idea. But I don't know. It's what we wanted, but then it pulls off, and you're like, eh.
I don't know. There's something that's kind of. It's the whole thing of, because there's a lair at the end and the lair's blown up, and that's the ultimate villain killed. Brought Cat back. Yes. And there is everything there, but it's kind of weird. See, with the older movies, there was no emotion, but they were still good.
Yeah.
And the Daniel Craig movies introduced a level of emotion with James Bond and his other characters.
Yeah.
But then I didn't think there was anything in this movie, but there was everything that you would want from a James Bond movie like 30 years ago. And it's kind of, not jarring, but I felt like that was something kind of empty. Like the 3 main things I did not like.
Okay, what's your 3 things you don't like?
First of all, the childhood link between Bond and Blofeld I thought was completely pointless, and I think that ruined a large part of the movie for me.
Yep.
And I forgot about it until I watched it again.
Did you?
And I thought, right, see that right there? No. That doesn't need to be here at all. That's one thing.
I don't know whose idea that was.
Second thing, anytime a modern movie introduces nanotechnology, I switch off immediately. It's like, this is a nano thing in your blood.
Smart blood.
Yeah. What was wrong with the tracking chip in the last 2 movies that he got put in?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong like that. Anytime that's introduced, that's not a thing, and it's not something the taxpayer pays for. No.
And the next film does the same. Takes it another stage.
Get to that one. And the final of it was the torture / surgical scene.
I don't mind that.
I just didn't like that scene at all.
There needs to be a torture scene based. No, it doesn't need to be, but a classic film has James Bond being tortured and how's he going to get out of it?
But this isn't him being taught. This is him like being. It was like almost lobotomized, and it was almost to the point where, because like in Goldfinger, for example, he
got cut in half.
He's about to get cut in half, but he manages to use wit to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
In Casino Royale, it's not wit, he's just stubborn.
Lucky.
He's lucky, yes. Just at the right time, someone comes in and saves him.
Yeah.
And that's what leads it on. This one is, he actually cannot do it. If he managed to use the watch to get out of the thing before anything bad was going to happen, I'd be like, right, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he is like getting drilled in the face and stuff like that, I'm like,
maybe you should do it now.
Yeah, I was like, maybe should something be happening here? Is Blofeld winning here? Is this I was like, this shouldn't actually be happening here. Yeah. This is almost like he's losing. And I was like, what's going on here? And then when she throws the watch and it blows up, and I'm like, right, okay. And then I also noticed as well, this one watch. The small explosive that set off such a chain reaction
the whole thing.
I thought the whole building blowing up was too much. I know they're like, it's the largest explosion in cinema.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't care. Like, it's alright. Also, another fact as well is, so see this skill he had of running out this building after having drilled sections of apparently very, very vulnerable nerve centres and such.
The skills.
Still had the skill set to take one rifle, gun down, I think it was 12 guys.
Right.
One was about 200 yards away, gun them down, and then get away in a helicopter. Went, it was this skill set last movie.
That's right. Oh, yeah, because he's supposed to be like... He's a bad marksman now because he's an old man with a shoulder
it was
injury.
Fine. He had the shotgun and he managed to shoot the thing. It was like, he got the shotgun and you let the guys in the house, and they had the rifle. You're like, right, well, you've got the darkness on your side. Why?
The darkness.
Batman. Why would you not use that skill set to go through? And
I understand what you mean. That's a kind of a little minor plot hole there, because Blofeld says this first one will mess with your sight, so you shouldn't be able to have aimed perfectly and
the first one was pain, and then the second one was, oh no, he won't recognise you, and then she comes up and she goes, do you recognise me? And he's like, yes.
Right, so that's silly, but the first one I'm sure it says it'll mess with your sight, you won't be able to see or something, and then he goes ahead and like actually headshots everybody and then flies to a helicopter immediately after it. But that second one's a bit silly.
The surgical bit, or the torture thing, I didn't have any issues with it, but it was just the fact that it was still going ahead. It wasn't luck. It was just happened to. You've got the thing to get out of here.
Yeah, you just used it too late.
Why are we waiting so long? And then there was the whole thing of the room before, when it's the room of people on TVs. And I'm like, what's Spectre's actual game? What
are these people?
What is the object here? It's like, like global surveillance. You're doing that already.
Yeah, I don't know if it's to manufacture. I don't know, because they're using terrorist attacks to get people on board to give over their information, basically. And then I guess it's like, well, we have all your information, we're going to sell it to bad guys or manipulate it or something.
Sell it to bad guys. We're going to sell it to the evil marketing corporations. People just
sell it to Disney.
People just like, I'm getting so much spam. This is Spectre's fault.
Spectre and Mickey Mouse shaking hands.
Surely it's easier. I mean, I don't run an evil organisation, but surely it's easier to just buy off the people at the top to say, listen, I think you should sign up for this. this free trial.
30 days.
30-day free trial of global surveillance software.
I don't know their end game because it's never mentioned. All the plans mentioned of getting all the information, but not what they would do with it.
No.
It's not like
Why in the desert? What
I guess it needs to
because
be
it's sneaky.
secret.
I don't know. I didn't get what their whole like
End game was.
Yeah, and kind of Blofeld as well. I didn't get what he because he was like, again, it goes back to the whole thing of why they've linked him and Bond together, and he's like,
As a
I know
family thing.
we knew each other, I was to treat you like a brother, and I'm like, right, so is this a personal thing?
You've done all this to get to him.
But then it's not, because he said, I had all these agents and you were always there to
Yes.
stop me cause a problem.
Yes, that's
So that was why I did this. And I'm like, right, so it's nothing to do with when you were children. You're doing this because he's getting in the way of your business.
Yes.
Which you've not quite fully explained the plan for.
That's a better explanation than just I'm out to get my brother, so I built $1 billion evil empire.
Yeah, and then
But the fact, this guy keeps getting in the way sounds as plausible. It just so happens to be your brother.
it should, yeah, I mean, it should be. I suppose they might have written it in so when he sees him in Rome, he knows who to search for. But then it doesn't really become of anything. But it should just be that Blofeld is the head of an evil organisation wanting to do evil things, but it's explained. And it would maybe be really easy, or we're trying to corrupt the space program.
Yes,
or we're
that
trying to do
World War
this
III.
to control this country, or control this country, or control oil, or get money. Nice and simple, easy for the audience to understand.
Yeah.
Right now, what you're trying to explain is what, like, TikTok does already.
Yeah.
They just, well, this is not going on TikTok. They just monitor your device and see what you're doing.
Yeah.
To what end, I don't know.
Yeah.
You didn't quite explain it.
No.
And it just turns out that James Bond is getting in the way and killing off your operations. So now you have
You're
a
after
beef
him.
with him.
Yes, that
That's
makes
how
more
it,
sense.
That's how it should be.
Yes.
Not like, oh, I killed my dad because you were getting too close to him. That's what he said.
Yeah, and then what? Then I created an evil company, just to get back at him. I don't know. That sounds bad. That sounds like that shouldn't be the plot line.
Yeah, I didn't get the
whole brother thing shouldn't have been a thing. It should have just been, as you say, this guy's in the way all the time. Now we finally meet, and I'm going to finally take him out.
yeah.
And that should really have been like classic old 60s films were.
I think even the bit where see when James Bond has his gun taken off him and Blofeld walks him through the business
Yeah.
to show him all the TVs and things, and there's not a guard within like 30 feet. And James Bond says himself, oh, I'm not coming back from this. This will be a one-way trip. Like, if I need to go kill this man, because he's the author of all your pain.
Yeah.
And I thought, kill him. I've seen
get him now.
I've seen you kill people with your bare hands before. Like, just kill him there. He's not a strong man.
No, it's definitely not.
Grab him. But no.
But he waits, and then he does lunge after him, and there's a guard there that takes him out, I guess.
Far too late.
Far too late. He
When
could
he's,
have just...
when he's playing a video. God forbid you play a video.
Yeah, I don't know if the torture scene is genuinely just to show how to give Blofeld his scar, his classic scar, and as a way for them to introduce the cat and a way for them to escape. I don't know if it's...
I think that
Just-
the torture scene is set up well. I think it went further than it needed to go, because what it showed is I was listening to Daniel Craig scream for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, here's a drill and it's going to do this, and it just didn't.
And didn't do anything.
And there's another drill and it's going to do this, and it didn't. And then we get to the end and the drill turns towards his eyes, and it's like, are we not going to lead with that? No, and that's when it gets to say the line and gets away. Why blowing up this laptop unlocks the things?
Yeah.
Movie.
I don't get it.
I have a question in terms of villains. So C.
See?
C.
See?
Why is he called C?
See? Now, that's one of my questions. Why is he called C when his name's Max Denby?
Yeah, because he turns and he goes, "Oh, I suppose we should call you C then." I was like, "Max is fine." And he goes, "No, C."
Yeah. Now, I don't know if that's the joke, the unsaid joke, just from the start. That's always James Bond thought that he is one. He is, so I'll just call you C. And then everybody else takes on that joke though.
'Cause
like M takes it on and he gives it to everybody else, who then everybody calls him C, and he gets called C in the credits.
Tanner says, "Oh, so you've met C then?" And he's like, "Well, you've not spoke to each other, so how would you know the name?" And then this when Ray Fiennes gets C, so now we know what C stands for, and everyone's going, "Oh,
say it."
He's going to say it. He's like, careless. I was like, you're so posh. he's so posh in English.
Oh, it's good.
Careless. And I was like, Voldemort. Tom Riddle there.
The good old the cinema was good at that time. Everybody kind of laughed. I liked that. Yeah, I don't really know why he would be called C apart from that joke, or how everybody gets to know him as C. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's just one of those things you have to kind of take. Just let it happen.
I did rewind it and be like, have I missed a line there?
Yeah, because his name's Max. There's no C in Max, as far as I know.
Okay.
I think we were all meant to know that he was a villain in the first place.
I think most people who watch Sherlock were like, evil.
Yeah,
evil man.
I knew he was a bad guy from Sherlock. There's no way he would have been a good guy, so I don't think it's much of a reveal that he was a bad guy in the end, in the subplot.
General James Bond movies, when a well-known actor steps in who's not any of the main cast, is like evil.
Yeah, yeah, like Christopher Lee, bad guy.
Bad man.
Yeah. Question 2? Yes?
Yes.
Question 2. Okay. So Q gives James Bond his new DB10, but he's not who the car was assigned for in the first place. Who was the car assigned for in the first place that Bond then stole?
C.
It was C.
Actually, when you mentioned cars, I forgot one of the tropes things. The the Rolls Royce from Goldfinger at the end that takes him to the... I
thought that as well.
Yeah. Just when you said car, I was like, there's something I forgot about.
Do you think Christoph Waltz is a good Blofeld?
I thought he was unnerving.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I liked about the movie was not so much Christoph Waltz when he was, I'm going to say visible, because when he was Christoph Waltz visible, to me he was just Christoph Waltz from like Django Unchained and Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah,
he just plays himself, and he is a really good actor. Poor support of football teams. But
yes, let's not talk about that.
I think one of the best scenes, in fact, one of the best scenes of the movie, and one of the scenes is when it's just his silhouette.
The Spectre meeting.
The meeting is class. And it's so good. And I actually do remember this in the cinema when I was watching it again, how silent the room is.
Yeah.
And just when he comes in, he doesn't do anything. And you're like, what's he going to say? And everyone's waiting for him to say something. And he like leans back and the guy comes in and he literally just asks the guy to bring the mic forward. And I was like, what power this guy has? And everyone's just sitting and then he goes, totally meant to interrupt you. And everyone continues just as normal. And it's so eerie. But you know it's him. You know how it is, but just no one sees him. And there's just this weird silent power. And even when it turns, and you can hear him talking to the room, but he's actually talking to James Bond. And he's like, welcome, James. And it's like, oh, he knows he's there.
Yeah, that was such a good scene in the cinema.
He said he was Mickey Mouse. How does he know he's there?
Ciao, Mickey Mouse.
But that bit was so good. And
it was, yeah.
How he got out the building, I don't know. How he jumped through that window
and survived, I don't know.
But yeah, that whole scene was great.
The scene and it leads into an amazing chase. Yeah, that's a good part of the film. I'm glad they did the Spectre meeting because
even
it's so
the score at that bit going through
it's eerie,
was good.
Score.
I think the music side of things leads on to another bit which I did really like. I didn't like, I was going to say Drax, it's not Drax, that's Guardians of the Galaxy. Batista's character.
Hinks. You didn't like Hinks?
No, I did like.
Okay.
I did like Hinks. I thought it was a wee bit shoehorned, but I liked the fact that he was everywhere. He's squeezed into this sports car.
And this train.
The train fight sequence was really, really good.
Yeah.
And the most fragile train in the someone hit a wall and the wall exploded. But one of my favourite bits of the movie, and this I think this was just editing, is there's no music throughout the fight.
No.
And then the music starts when Bond is like almost unconscious and Hanks picks him up. And it's this really like high tension, almost like melancholic noise. And it's like, oh, this is almost like when someone's about to die. That's what this I've seen enough movies to know that's what this means.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, right, he's going to get the thumbs. Something bad's going to happen here. And then it switches it really, really quickly, and Madeline
has the gun.
I'm like, I was like, that was actually really good, because I thought, oh no,
he's never getting out of this.
This is going to be bad. So yeah, in the music side of things, I actually really liked that, and that went into.
I would say this train scene is one of the best scenes. It's one of my moments, because again, a throwback to From Russia with Love.
Train fight sequences.
Yeah.
How many train live and let die?
Yeah, this big claw hanging out the window. Yeah, all it's good. I like it. I think the Spectre meeting was good. I'm glad they brought that back, because the Spectre meeting in Thunderball was a great scene, and they kind of do the same thing where one of the agents gets killed. In the classic film, he gets electrocuted, whereas in this film they just watch Hinks blind this man and then snap his neck
in silence as well.
Silence. Such a great scene into an amazing chase, greatly shot cinematography. Another throwback to Die Another Day with a Jaguar and the bad guy in a Jaguar chasing an Aston.
Is that Jaguar? I thought it was a Ferrari.
No, it's a Jaguar, because Jaguar Land Rover, the deal. It has to be,
of course. But of course.
So that's another throwback. Although he doesn't have gadgets, Mr. Hinks, he's actually such a good villain. I would go up to say he is on a par with Oddjob and Jaws.
Don't think he gets enough screen time, I would say.
No, although he has
in this 2.5 hour movie.
He has some great fashion sense in the Alps with his little cap and all that. I was like, poof.
He has
Mr. Hinks.
a double-barreled handgun.
I know,
it's probably
loud,
one of the first thing I've
massive.
seen in a movie. You don't really see them all that often.
No.
I think they're probably very expensive. Probably heat up really, really quickly.
Yeah. Can I say a scene actually I remember that I loved that they brought back Mr. White. I think that's one of the only scenes that from like the old films coming into this film that I actually liked that they did. The fact, because I remember Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace, he was like the bad guy, the guy in the shadows who always got away, especially in the opera scene. And I was like, what's going to happen? Where's this guy? This guy is like actual Quantum, probably.
Yeah.
And the fact that he came back was just so good fan service, I think.
Just sit there rough as hell.
Yeah, literally dying. That was so good, and that scene has great dialogue. I love the tag that they put in the trailer about you're a kite dancing in a hurricane, like poetic, nice, good. And then just to have that little scene with him was just thanks, Sam. But the fact that that he is Madeline's dad, it's not. I don't really mind that. I know a lot of people are like, why is James Bond dating a Spectre agent's daughter? And I guess that gets raised in the next film when you think about it. But yeah,
such a weird, now I think about like the way his life has went since the end of Casino Royale to the end of No Time to Die. It's like, what?
You have a weird life.
Yeah, I like that scene. It was all right.
Madeline, how do you feel about Léa Seydoux? Do you think that maybe they should have just went all out and called her Tracy and been that character?
No.
Did she need to be a new character?
Yeah.
Because everything else harks back to the classics except her. Like, I think sometimes...
Maybe that's a throwback to A Majesty's Secret Service.
Well, that's the next film's... The full film's just a throwback to that.
You didn't expect, like, Mr. White to go... She needs a man.
Do you need to
dominate her?
No.
Moved on from then.
She definitely doesn't, because she's quite like arrogant, I guess.
Yeah.
And all that. But I think, I don't know, I've never asked that of myself, do I want her to be Tracy? But I guess that maybe have been a trope too far in a trope heavy film to then call her Tracy. And then, because I think you kind of expect, all right, she's going to die next film or something like that. She's going to die because the original Tracy died. But the fact that they've had Felix and Vesper Lind and all these other characters from the originals to then have James Bond fall in love with someone that you don't know, I was like, should that really have happened?
I don't really think they care much about what happened beforehand. Let's be honest, we had like George Lazenby holding Tracy's dead body, and then Roger Moore putting flowers at the grave, and it's like, you're a different person. Are we going back there?
No, like, that's all the same continuity. I know the Craig universe is its own continuity, but still, I think
I think that would have been maybe too much.
A bit too much. Does the film just not live up to Skyfall, which is why everybody kind of puts it down the bottom of the list? I really don't know what the issue with this movie is. I never went in comparing it to Skyfall. I never really appreciated Skyfall until I liked it in the cinema, then afterwards I just thought it's just a movie. And then when I started watching it again, I really enjoyed it. I liked the... Do you know what I think it is? That old thing we all love. The risk. The like intensity. There's something to be lost kind of thing. Right.
Skyfall had it. It had the bits of running through the streets to stop Silver from killing M.
Oh, right, yeah.
We had it at the end when you've got James Bond and these two pensioners trying to defend themselves against it, and James Bond is in the water trying to get this guy off when Silver's going to the church and he knows
there's time ticking down.
Yeah, it's the whole octopusy thing of something bad's going to happen, there's a rush here. I can't remember any bit of this movie where that was a factor, other than the end where you see Q's laptop and there's half an hour until the
thing goes
program goes. Why? If they were that evil, they would just turn it on. Don't we need to wait for midnight?
No.
Why? What happens at midnight? Now. Yeah, like there wasn't any point in this movie where jeopardy. There was a time stress or a level of urgency. Even at the end, and I know they were trying to do it with the drill thing. There wasn't any time. It wasn't like a laser, where the laser's getting closer, and I can see it going away, and something bad's going to happen if you don't get away in time.
Yeah.
The end sequence about getting out, maybe try to find Madeline in the building.
It's jeopardy. Yeah, there's some, a little bit, but it's not.
You don't even know she's in there. So at the last minute you hear this like banging, and then he opens the thing and
she's there.
She's tied up, and it's like, what were you banging? Like, what were you?
Why didn't you do that 2 minutes earlier?
Yeah, they're just. And then try to shoot the helicopter down in this like level of marksmanship which has been missing for a while.
Again. From a pistol, is that really doable? That was a technical question for you.
I think over and over again, like you can hit it, but you hit the right. But if anything, it's going to hit the glass and something bad's going to happen. Probably miss it. And shoot Parliament.
So kind of doable.
But I think that's potentially what was lacking in this movie. At level, we always talk about threat in the movies. We don't. No, not dislike, but why one movie's maybe better received than the other. I don't know what the threat of this was. I don't really think the audience really knew what the threat of this global surveillance. All right, well, I'm going to turn it off then.
Yeah, right. It's like, we live in it already.
Yeah, and we're going to blow up this building. A building that's already half blown up. Okay. And there was no time. Yeah, I think that was it. I think there was no risk of loss.
Nah, there was. Yeah, you're right. But I also just think that similar to Quantum of Solace, it came after the biggest film, like the peak, and then it's like, can you match the peak? Can you better this?
Can you match the peak?
And obviously, you're never going to do that, and it's the same with every franchise. Really, you're never going to better Endgame. You're never going to better Casino Royale or Skyfall. It was always going to be a come down, and I think people latch onto that too much. It wasn't Casino Royale. But of course it wasn't. It has to be its own thing. And
Yeah.
it tried so hard. I literally threw the kitchen sink at it. And it's not a bad film. It grossed over $800 million.
Yeah, I'd say it is a very well made movie,
Yep.
but it's just I don't think it's lacking anything. I think it's not it's not got the itch. There's like a weird emotional element, but I don't know. I'd love for someone to just explain why
What's missing here.
Give me the answer.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just too long. They're trying to put too much in it. Maybe if they streamlined it a little bit, it might have been better. If you took out some elements and just, I don't know, added a bit more threat, Blofeld, cut out the brother thing. It could all actually, small tweaks would have made this a good 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to say it, but again, I went into this movie thinking it was terrible and I never wanted to see it again, and I just didn't like it. And I think time had passed so long that I forgot what I disliked about it, which is nice because I went back to it and I had a really nice time watching it again.
Good.
Because especially the whole scene in like Italy was just class.
Yeah.
The funeral scene, visually stunning. Monica Bellucci, visually stunning. That whole scene where he shows up and kills the 2 assassins.
Yeah.
The meeting, the car chase.
Oh, that whole segment in Rome, yeah.
That whole bit was just phenomenal. And even looking at each country, you're moving like into Tangier. The bit about finding the hidden room in the hotel room, and you're like, this is actually quite interesting. Need to get Heineken in somewhere.
Yeah.
And feed it to the rats.
That's all it's good for.
On the train, again, the train's looking great. Great fight sequence.
Got a good chance to wear the tux.
Yes, Mexico City looks great. Great sequence. Even the bits in London. London was shown quite a lot in this movie, but there was just, I don't know. There was just something that was. I'm going to put it down to lack of urgency and lack of threat.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what I'd put it down to. I don't know. It had everything you want and just it never pulled off. And I came into this thinking it was a great film. I actually really do like Spectre a lot.
Do you think it went down in your
I think
estimate by watching it again?
No. I think listening to other people's opinions brings it down, because to me it's a good film. It's a mid-tier film, and it always was for me, but I'm always disappointed it just never lived up to what the pre-film hype was, the trailer hype.
Yeah. It's been interesting watching this after watching all the movies in order and marking it against that, and then actually we've not talking about the song.
No, or the rejected songs and all that. So Sam Smith,
Pish.
do you think so? The opening title scene's good.
The opening title scene is good visually. That's always going to be good. A lot of octopi.
Octopi.
But the song was just meh. I think there's a reason why the song doesn't really appear much in the score.
It's in the love scene on the train. It's the only time I remember it.
Is it?
Yeah.
But that's not the melody of like vocals. It's a me.
Yeah, that
whole
bit.
thing.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that was David. David clearly put that in there.
David's not on this film.
Is he not?
No, it's Thomas Newman again. Because it's Sam Mendes.
Did David Arnold not do any of the things? Come on.
David Arnold's main James Bond theme comes back at the end when the Aston drives away. That's his song. It's not a re-recording.
Oh yeah, that's true actually. You get hands in the last one.
Yeah, the song, I don't know. It won the Oscar for best film song.
I don't think there was anything else that year.
The
song was written in 5 minutes. They say.
Yeah, his vocal was the first take of the demo, which I'm like, right, okay. That doesn't make it any better or any impressive.
I think it's probably one of the least listened to. If people listen on time, I
think it was massive at the time though on the radio,
because it's Sam Smith though.
Yeah,
but then Sam Smith is a divisive character.
No, he is.
But I don't really get the thing of not listening to someone because of the person.
They are.
If it's a good song and you like it, then you should listen to it.
Yeah.
I just felt really disappointed by it. It's just, I heard it coming on the radio and I was like expecting Adele.
Yeah.
I was expecting Chris Cornell and I was like, God, this gets
Massive.
better and better as time goes on. And then you've got the
sort of whiny, doesn't
and then,
quite do this
I
falsetto
don't like
right.
the verse, but maybe the chorus is going to become big and grand. No, and then before you know it, the song's over with, and I'm like,
The outro is good. The big belt note is good. You're right. It's not the best, but I don't know. I'm gonna put it out there that I didn't like Spectre by Radiohead either, so it was one or the other. And I didn't like Lana Del Rey's 24 that we listened to in the car. That is very. It's from our third album, Honeymoon, and she only actually revealed that it was written for Spectre a couple of months ago when she won an Ivor Novello award. She was like, the interviewer was like, would you do James Bond next? And she was like, I already wrote a song, but Sam beat me to it. But it's not very. There's no Bond. The Bond notes aren't there. The Bond notes aren't there in Spectre by Radiohead either. I think the drum beat, the offbeat drum thing,
that's
does
a
it.
really odd thing about it. I'm not a fan of it. But the whole
The time signature,
I
and
thought
that's
the
hard.
whole end chorus of this Spectre one by Radiohead is like,
It's
all right,
good.
that's.
That's what it needs to
mystery,
be.
That's intriguing. That should be there.
You're right.
But the weird Radioheadness of it is maybe just, it was like, maybe not this time, guys.
Did
Maybe
you
next time.
remember in the Amazon Sound of 007, they talked about how they had this Radiohead song from the 90s that they wanted to use, but they couldn't use it because it wasn't specifically for the film. It had to be written for the film.
Oh yeah,
It was called Man of War.
It was already released.
And it was already out, and they were like, that would have been an amazing song. I went back and listened to that song today, and it is good.
I've not heard that.
It is great. It's called Man of War.
We'll put that on in the car on the way home.
Yeah, we definitely are. But the music was good. I think Lana Del Rey might have her shot next time for the new film. The songs,
Coming water band.
the song was good, but it wasn't the best. And now it's time for the third and final question. Quite late on today, but the third and final question is a hard one for me. Blofeld is in a helicopter at the end of the film watching James Bond struggle to escape the building. And as he flies over the Thames, it shows you the number or the ID tag of the helicopter. I would like you to tell me what his number is.
So difficult.
Exactly.
I didn't even know you were going to ask that question.
Like, what's the helicopter ID thing?
I thought you were going to ask the song question.
No. What was the song question?
You said you knew a fact about that. If you're not going to ask the question, then can
I'm
you
not
give
going to
the
ask the question. What?
Right, so when James Bond clicked on atmosphere in the car, it started playing New York, New York.
Yes.
Why was that?
Who sings that?
Frank Sinatra's in it.
But it
Is it Frank Sinatra?
Yes, it is. But that version was not Frank Sinatra. That's my fact. Because in the credits, it's New York, New York by the guy who. It's a cover of New York, New York by Frank Sinatra by a guy who came second in the X Factor.
What year?
Like 2006 or something. Because in the credits, when it lists all the songs, it says New York by this guy.
Leon Jackson.
From the X Factor.
I'm trying to think of any one of the second place.
Yeah, something like that.
Leon Jackson. Gareth Gates.
No, that was not it. So
I don't know what year Leon Jackson was signed. If I get this right, I want a prize.
Okay,
Oh, sure, doing that. I'm going to get the board.
get the board.
Is it One Direction?
It's not One Direction. It says here it's Sam Bailey, but that's a woman. Maybe it was. Anyway, we're sorry, Sam Smith.
Anyway, you do the rank this week?
Do you remember?
Yes, actually,
Yes.
you place and
I'll
then
place
I
it.
adjust something. So,
Are you sure?
yes,
Okay.
this week you do.
Thanks for getting to the end of this long episode.
I thought it was actually not too bad. Thank you for still joining us. But don't go. Don't turn off just yet.
No, you
because,
need to know where
we're
this
going,
film
we're going to do
goes.
the ranking, and as always,
I'm not
I would
gonna
like
let
to
you
thank you for getting this far. Please, give it a wee like if you're on YouTube, and give it a wee subscribe. We're almost at 200 subscribers on YouTube. I think we're like 3 or 4 away, so if you do that, that would be very nice. If you're listening on Spotify, then I don't know if you can like things on Spotify, but you can certainly follow us if you've not done that already. Apple Podcasts is the same. I think you can subscribe or like or something to that effect. And prepare yourself for the final movie. It might be a while away. It might be a good few weeks. Jack, what are you doing?
I don't know. It's hard to move the magnets now.
All right,
There's
so
not a
I
lot of
think we
space.
can like deduct from these noises that this is going mid-table. Jack's moving everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be a few weeks till we've got the last one. I'll be married by the time the next episode comes out.
I was going to say, join us next week when I have a different co-host.
A married man.
A married man.
It was a wedding. We're driving away down the mountainside, and on my wedding day, a bald man shot out from his car. Just dead. That's why that guy was at Norway, the museum owner, doesn't get
Oh,
married,
yeah.
'cause
In case.
when wife dies. Okay, mate. All
Okay,
right.
James.
Okay, so where has Jack put this? I cannot argue with that.
There you go.
Jack is, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ninth. It's below From Russia with Love, and it's above Octopussy.
Now, for us, that's a good spot, I think.
I think that's it. That is actually pretty. What's happened with these? Have you been like tunies or something?
I've been getting my anger out on
So
them.
the pair have been coming off.
This allows Derek to then ruin the board. Next time's going to be our final episode of the main series of the podcast, where we will look at
We revisit them again.
No Time to Die, and it will be me and Derek, the married man. It could be a few weeks away because that marriage has to happen.
Yes. None of you are invited.
If you get 3 questions right, you might
You might win an evening invite.
get an evening. Are you just going to mess me up here?
No.
You're just coming.
God, you're right. These magnets are just a pain, man. Surely I
Can I also just show people my socks? How do I get that onto camera?
Does this look like OnlyFans?
Do you see that? This is the first time I've worn these socks. They're green socks. Granted, that's why it's the first time I've worn them. But it has Blofeld, as in the good old. Who's the original actor?
Blofeld.
Yeah,
Donald Pleasance.
Donald Pleasance with the cat on my sock.
There was the cat. I forgot about the lines actually. James Van Tusden goes, "Hello, Pussy," and I was like, "Pussy galore."
Is that? Is it or not? Is that?
I think it is a line because I don't know why else he would say
There wasn't really any one-liners. Oh, there was, but I never wrote them down. Just the
that. Bring it
Careless.
back in one piece.
careless. Bring back one piece, I guess.
Okay.
Oh.
The changes are at the bottom of the board.
The bottom of the table has changed. The relegation zone. Okay. There's nothing I can do, but I'm going to say no.
No, why did you say no?
No, I can't say that Thunderball is the least favourite.
Well, I was
Least-
going to put another one, but I thought you would take grievance with that.
I would take Grievance. Diamonds Are Forever is not the worst. James Bond and is nowhere near
Well, it's
the
not.
worst.
It's the second worst.
But Thunderball is not the worst.
It's not the worst, but I disagree that Doctor No should be the worst.
Yeah, somebody has to be last. And
I put that above Moonraker as well, I believe. Doctor No.
that I can agree with.
Yes. I'm baffled as to why Moonraker was ranked so high. Now that I look back, I was like, where were we smoking last year? Like, why is Moonraker like still here?
I think maybe this film, Spectre and Thunderball, can be comparable because in the box office views, because Goldfinger was the biggest film, Skyfall was the biggest film, and then the next film came out and the critics and the fans didn't like it as much.
Yeah, it had more to it.
Yeah, it had lots more to it, and the same as Quantum of Solace came out straight after the big film. Nobody liked it. This Spectre came after the big film, Skyfall. Nobody liked it. It just falls. It's the film that comes after the big film always tanks.
It's like The Group of Death.
Yeah,
It's never going to be good with it.
But anyway,
You can't please us. You want me to hold it up and you can read it out?
I'll
Bastard.
okay.
I'll hold up at my camera and you can read it out so people can see.
Right, so for the second last time ever, I'm going to tell you the ranking of Bond films. In last place, we now have a new loser. It's Thunderball.
The first of the losers.
Thunderball, Diamonds Are Forever, Moonraker, Doctor No, You Only Live Twice, For Your Eyes Only, A View to a Kill, Quantum of Solace, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Live and Let Die, License to Kill, The Man with the Golden Gun, Die Another Day, The Spy Who Loved Me, Octopussy, Spectre, From Russia with Love, Tomorrow Never Dies, The Living Daylights, Goldfinger, The World Is Not Enough, Casino Royale, GoldenEye, and on top, Skyfall.
We're getting there.
Do you know how hard it is to do that without making a mistake or fluffing up a name?
You're just reading. Well,
I wouldn't. Yeah.
The penultimate of the main episode's done. I don't know where we're going to be for the final one.
Where we're going to be or when we're going to
Maybe
be.
we'll speak to Babs and see if we can go down to Pinewood. That's never going to happen.
Maybe they could get us on the set.
Because they'll be like, no, we can't do that. Sorry, guys. Also, there's no more movies. They'll be like, I knew it.
That could be that's a distinct possibility that there will be no movies. Not that we'll get to Pinewood.
No movies.
No movies. Okay, thanks everybody for watching the penultimate episode of the main series. Today we talked about Spectre and why it's actually not as bad as everybody makes it out to be. Please go visit it again, watch that film, and then come back to us and comment on our episode and tell us that you're a changed man as Derek is.
Let's know your thoughts as well. I'd like to see, and I don't want just one sentence in the comments. I want what the ranking should be. Not of, I don't want you to list all 24 movies, but what should the top 3 be? Where should Spectre be? In fact, rank Spectre out of 10. That's what I want in the comments to be. What out of 10 would you give Spectre? And if it's not 10 out of 10, why is it not 10 out of 10?
Because it really should be. On paper it should be.
What do you think is missing?
Yeah. What's the missing element that we can't articulate because we're not good enough with our words?
True. Tell us, Sam, what went wrong?
Yes. Okay, thank you. And join us next time for the final episode of the main series for Your Ears Only podcast. I am Jack and this is Derek.
You signing off. And I endorse this message. Bye-bye.